everyone, it's Michelle Caruana, creator of Play Cafe Academy and also owner of Climbing Vines Cafe and Play Indoor Playground. And before we get started, today's video is really special, but I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions, leave a comment on this video. I would be happy to answer. So in today's video, I'm actually going to be sharing one of my coaching calls. So Alicia is a member of Play Cafe Academy, and she has been for several weeks now. And I asked her permission to record one of our one-on-one coaching calls, and luckily she said yes, and she gave me permission to share it with you. So bear with me, this is a long video, but she asked some absolutely amazing questions, and I hope that you learn a lot from this call. So I actually have a bunch more of these recorded that I have permission to share. So if you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments, and if there's enough interest, I will share the rest. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoy today's coaching call. Hi, Alicia. Thanks so much for joining me on the call today.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Good. And first of all, thank you so much for doing this.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so we're going to start the coaching call. But before we get started, I just wanted to ask you, just because I'm so curious and I've been asking everybody this, what have you found to be, I guess, the most beneficial part of the entire Play Cafe Academy program, if you could pick?
It's a toss-up. Oh, gosh. Okay.
I know, sorry.
It's at different stages, different things are more beneficial. So, like, the business plan thing, I watched the video for that, like, 10 times while writing our business plan. When I met with my SBA advisor, they were like, did you pay someone to do your business plan? And I was like, no, I did it, but with a great coach. And so that was really great in the beginning. And it was so thorough and helpful. And then like midway through our process, like as we were still finishing things, like module 5 with the designing your space was really great. And now I'm obsessed with the marketing module. I watch those videos, like I watch at least one of them every day over again, just to keep like my thoughts going on how we're going to do stuff.
Oh, awesome. That's so funny that you bring that up, that different things are different levels of helpful at different points. So thanks for that. All right. So I am ready. What questions do you have for me? I'm just going to take the water.
Okay. So I wrote down some questions, and they, I guess, might be a little bit out of order of like what way to go about them. But I think the most pressing thing right now is, so we have signed our lease, and right now we're waiting to take possession. They're going to put our HVAC system in, and then we'll get possession. So probably like around October 1st. So right now we're getting our architect plans done, and we're getting our contractor bids and all of that, like getting the ball rolling on all of that. But like best case scenario, we would be done building out in like mid-November, and that's best case scenario. And so I'm kind of hesitant on whether or not we should open in December, or if we should maybe do soft openings and holiday events and birthday parties and stuff in December, and then hold like a real opening in January. Because I worry that people have already kind of decided how they're going to spend their money by then, and might not really want to invest necessarily in like buying passes for Christmas and stuff like that. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, so first of all, I definitely think that you're giving us parents a little too much credit. I know that I'm always looking for like that last minute gift. Not necessarily maybe for my own children, but around the holidays, we actually get the most purchases from like grandparents and
that's what I was planning.
Godparents. Yeah. So parents don't really, I like to take all the credit. So I don't like to have my kids open like gift cards or like membership passes. I leave the non-fun stuff for other people to buy, and I like to buy like the toys and stuff. So the people that are buying passes and things like that, they are actually probably going to be the ones looking for that like last minute thing that they can pick up like on the way home from work. So what we didn't open until February, so it was a little bit different. But I think it's a great idea to plan some events. However, definitely keep in mind, I know you mentioned your contractors and things like that, but we planned a bunch of events for, I think it was like January. They were sneak preview events, and we sold tickets for a couple, and then we did some for free for like exclusive groups just for feedback. And we actually had a bunch of delays. I'm sure you remember from the course. And we had to cancel them. And that was really, really tough. because not only did we have to like disappoint people, but we also like refunded their money, and it was just not a good look. It wasn't a good first impression for us.
Right.
So I think events are hard because, you know, I already am scheduling our holiday events now.
Yeah.
So I think what I would do, I would be very cautious to do any sort of ticketed event before you are 100% sure about your opening date. So I wouldn't plan any like big elaborate events, because especially like holiday events, because you can't really repurpose or reuse any of that stuff until like next year.
Yeah.
So I think what I would do if it were me is I would definitely do like a play pass sale, like a pre-opening sale, because grandparents, godparents, aunts, uncles, they're going to jump on it for sure. Even if you're not open yet and you have to set up like a mobile sales station, like if you can find a local cafe or a local business and say, hey, you know, I'm going to promote to my social media following and email list that I'm going to be here selling passes. You know, it's a benefit to them because they're getting people in the door that they wouldn't necessarily have. So the coffee shop, those people are probably, I would say at least 60% of them are also going to grab coffee.
Okay, yeah.
Giving you a way to not only sell passes online, but also sell passes in person. Like what I did before we opened is I did exactly that. I actually did it at the Chamber of Commerce, just because it was like a last minute thing and they were having like a holiday event already. And I had this great idea to put them in these like little gift boxes that I like ordered in bulk from Amazon. The problem was though that it would have been like $7 to ship them in that box that I got. So I was kind of forced, even though people were buying them online, I gave them a discount if they like picked it up in person or if they came in person and purchased, because I really wanted to make like a good first impression with this packaging and stuff. And I put like some stickers in it. You know, I really just wanted to like over deliver, but it was like eating all of that shipping cost if I had to ship them. So I would definitely recommend a holiday sale. I would be cautious about any ticketed events. So I would just plan a grand opening maybe early January or whenever you feel comfortable. And then if it turns out, like if you're a week or two out and it looks like you're going to be able to open early, then I would do maybe like, it doesn't have to be like a huge elaborate event, but maybe like, you know, Santa coloring sheets or, you know, cookie decorating. Like it doesn't have to be this huge holiday party. It can just be like a, hey, come check us out and decorate a cookie or, you know, things like that. So that's what I would recommend doing, but I wouldn't recommend, like our Halloween parties are already almost sold out. And like the idea of having to refund those tickets is so daunting to me.
Right.
Because again, it not only do you have to, you know, give back the money, but you also have to, you know, disappoint people. So I would be, again, cautious about any ticketed events. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does. That gives me some good things to think about. So we're in kind of a weird situation with, we have a good amount of our build out will be covered by our landlord, but it's as a reimbursement. So we have to like technically open to get that reimbursement. Yes. So that's part of why, like, when we're done, we'll probably have to do some sort of soft opening kind of events at that point. So I know in your course you talked about doing that you guys wish you had actually been able to do like even 2 weeks or a month of soft opening events.
Yeah, a month might have been too much, but we did like an hour.
Yeah. So, right.
Yeah. So I would say maybe like a week or two.
A week or two? Okay.
Because actually in the course, I know this is not possible for you, but when I said maybe a month of soft opening, I meant like a September. Because September is our slowest month, but it being like December, January, those are going to be two months where people are really looking for open play.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Florida. So in Florida, sometimes
summer could be busy.
Yeah. Right. So in Florida, sometimes we open our Christmas presents like in shorts and tank tops.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, I mean, for us, I would have done definitely, if it were September for us, that's our slowest month, then I would have likely done I would have had a longer soft opening process because I wouldn't be missing out on all that money. So January might be a slow month for you, so you could give yourself a little bit more time, take things a little bit more slowly, and then by the time the weather starts to get a lot hotter and people are looking for indoor options, and I caution against very long soft openings during what would be busy months because you're giving
that makes sense.
But yeah, that makes perfect sense in Florida.
Yeah, because December is like just beautiful weather time. Like,
I'm so jealous. We're usually snowed in.
Sometimes, I mean, it's really cold. Like, you just never know. So,
right
here. So, all right. And then I was wondering, before you guys opened, did you guys do any like vendor booth events, like at local, I guess anything local that was happening? We have a really big consignment sale at our like our conference center every year. There's two, one in the spring and one in the fall. And so I was thinking about going to that because it's very affordable for me to set up a booth for all 4 days and get traction. And they have like 3,000 to 4,000 families come through during that 4-day time frame.
Yep. So a couple of thoughts. So yes, we did do that before we opened, first of all, to answer your question. However, I'm not sure exactly what your business model is, but for us, you know, we just knew, you know, as a fact of life that we wouldn't be able to accommodate every type of family, right? We were a little bit higher priced.
Okay.
So I really focused on events where, I guess my ideal customer was.
Okay.
So the thing that I would ask them is, you know, kind of get an idea of, not only the kind of people that go, because again, I'm not trying to slight anyone or anything like that. But for me, the events that have been the most successful are actually a little bit smaller, and not the ones with like 4,000 and 5,000 people. The best events that I have been to are ones that are hosted. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like we have a Humane Society farm near us, and it's a little bit smaller, but it was smaller. I had, I think, like 20, 25 vendors. It was all day, which I thought was nice because when you have those events that have so many people, it's first of all, it's hard for people to retain information in that kind of setting. When it's a little bit smaller, not only does it give you more time to talk to each person and actually like make a connection, it's less overwhelming for them as well. Yeah. So those events that I went to that had like 4,000 and 5,000 people, especially like consignment type sales, like they are going there like with a mission in mind. They aren't going there to like browse or like chit chat. They are going to get in there. They're going to get what they want to get. And then it's probably going to be so crazy and overwhelming. And like, I've been to those sales for sure. And I might grab a pamphlet, but you know, I'm there for a purpose. It's not to browse. So there's more like boutique style. Like we focus on events for like new parents, things like that, because again, most of our business comes from first birthday parties. Right. So that might not be what you're focusing on. So say you're focusing on open play for older children. You might want to go to our mall in our area has like a fall fest where all of the local kids places come, and any place with like classes or after school programs or enrichment activities for like the school age child, they will set up booths there. Even though there's thousands and thousands of families that go, we would never pay to be there because we don't serve the 4 and up crowd as much. Even though technically 4, 5, and 6-year-olds could come to our facility, they really don't. So I prefer to focus on, even if I have to pay a little bit more, I would much rather be at an event where I can actually talk to people and have them not be so overwhelmed and things like that. And what I do in that situation, which you probably wouldn't be able to do at that type of event because there's just so many people, is I always bring some sort of discount code specific to that event. So I'll put them on like flyers or business cards or something like that. And it doesn't have to be like 50% off. It can just be like save $5 on a play package with code like event 123. And like, yes, they could technically share it, but that will give you a really good idea of ways to track which events are most successful for you, because you might have a different experience. I guess my main point is you're going to try some things out that don't work in the beginning. You kind of just have to figure out where your people are. Like I had to do a lot of events that did not result in any business for us. Another thing that I would ask when you're thinking about events is I would ask about the promotion that they do. So if that event that had 4,000 or 5,000 participants, if they, for example, send out an email to their entire participants that I would ask them about like their readership, what their open rate is, because those types of things, even if the actual in-person event is not as successful as you, or is as successful as you'd like it to be, that can also result in, just brand awareness and things like that. And I hate to say this, I very rarely do any sort of community events anymore. Just because for us, like the time, and everybody already knows us, like we have 2 locations in town. Everybody knows us. So what I do instead of setting up a booth is I tend to do more of donations. So I won't donate like cash, but I'll donate a raffle prize. So that we're still getting that brand recognition, but I don't have to pay someone to be there. I don't have to be there myself. And it's free, yes, we have to, the explicit cost of, that person may have came in and paid. But to me, it's a no-brainer to donate a package of play passes for like a silent auction or something like that every single time. But again, it's a little bit different when you're just getting ready to open, because you want to generate as much excitement as possible. But again, specifically that consignment area makes me a little bit nervous, just because again, people are going to be frantic. It's going to be probably a zoo. So something else, another type of event that we like to do is any like food truck rodeos. A lot of families go to those. Like we have one at locally that it's very heavily family attended, and there's only a couple booths, and they're hanging around eating, and they have a lot of time to chat and ask questions. Another one is a lot of our schools locally do like 5Ks for fundraising. And that's another example of like the kids are running or the parents are running, and then they're kind of just hanging out after. Those are some events where they might let you, they're going to have a lot more limited vendors. It's going to be more of a relaxed environment. But it's still kind of family oriented. But again, I wouldn't be, you can have a lot more, I guess, grace for yourself while you're getting ready to open. Mistakes, you're going to do events that are going to be flops, but everything's going to be a learning experience. And I say before you open, because once you open, your time is going to be a lot more practice and a lot more scarce. So try to figure it out before you open where your time is best spent, which events are going to be the most beneficial. And not to give too long-winded of an answer, but another recommendation I would have is ask other business owners, if you can find any, which events have been most beneficial to them. At the beginning, it was a little bit harder because I didn't have as many connections, but now if I'm considering even speaking at an event or doing a conference or attending an event or doing any sort of booth event, I'll ask and I'll be like, hey, because attendance is important, but also like, how is the event run? Are they organized? Are they going to spend 1,000 hours setting up and I also want to hear about like the quality of the event and how it's run. Things like that. Those are all very important, because I can't tell you how many events looked really good on paper, but it was like an absolute mess. They didn't do a great job of promoting it. It was like those consignment events. Sometimes they are like so organized, and they're like, this is your spot in line. This is but some of them are just a zoo. So I would ask any business owner friends that you have, or reach out in local business groups and say, hey, if anyone set up a booth at this event, can you just tell me your experience? They'll be more than happy to share.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. I was going to ask you also, because we're kind of in the architect and permitting and construction phase now, what are some of the things that I guess maybe you wish you had done differently, or what are things that came up that you just didn't know were going to come up, and then they just, because you said you had delays, so like what kind of things were coming up that, you wish other people knew and could plan for in advance?
Okay, so this is a good question, and this is something that you probably specifically don't have to worry about. But for us, so we were building in like October, November, and we had just a very unseasonably cold fall.
Okay.
So our building was like dirt when we rented it. So the exterior was built, but the floor was like actual.
Okay.
So the ground actually froze a lot earlier than it typically would.
So they were not able to dig at all. So they were not able to pour the concrete for our floor. So, and like, I guess what surprised me the most is how some of those crucial steps can put off the entire process. So because the floor couldn't be poured, we had to put off our flooring installation. We had to put off, it's kind of like one of those things where some of those bigger projects, you can't move on until they're done.
Right.
So we couldn't have painters in there until there was an actual cement floor for whatever reason. That's a thing.
Right.
We couldn't have, like, we used Lilliput Playhomes for our playhouses. Right. And they are like a family-owned business. They're very, very busy. And we had them booked to like fly in and put together these playhomes. But obviously we couldn't if we didn't have a floor. And so like that was a huge delay because they couldn't just, bump us back a week or two. They had to completely reschedule their entire process.
Yeah.
I guess what I would recommend is asking what those crucial milestones are so that you can kind of plan accordingly, because obviously, ice and snow isn't going to be a problem for you, but if there are certain milestones that need to be met that are really going to be like showstoppers if they don't get met, I would just keep a very your finger on the pulse of all of those, because what I found when working with contractors and things like that is, unfortunately, sometimes like the squeakiest wheel is the loudest, or the squeakiest wheel gets the oil, I guess, is what I meant. But a lot of times I'll have multiple projects going on and, balls get dropped, things get delayed. Like I have never heard of a construction project that did not at some point face some sort of delay. So you just want to make sure that the delays that you face, because again, they're just a fact of life. So I want you to make sure that the delays you do face are not those showstopper milestones, and that those milestones are getting met, because they don't necessarily always appreciate that their project is holding up all of these other projects. They're just kind of thinking about their piece. They don't necessarily, nobody cares about your business as much as you do, right? I say that a lot. So I was a little bit naive in thinking that like, oh, everyone's going to want to keep this thing moving, and they're going to, they're going to want us to open on our target date. But honestly, like they don't really, I don't want to say they don't care as much, but they're just not as invested. They're going to get their paycheck regardless. So I would just make sure you stay on top of the entire team and make sure that those milestones are getting met so that you can be in communication with all of your other vendors, because it's one of those things like one delay snowballs into 100 delays. And, I still think I'm still so frustrated that we didn't open on time. If you can tell, I'm still like bitter about it. But a lot of it was because I just didn't realize how crucial some of those things are. And had I known that the floor not getting poured would have delayed everything so severely, I would have made sure that sucker got poured in November or in September. Because even though it was unseasonably cold, like even the slight chance that it wouldn't have gotten done, I would have expedited the other tasks. So just understanding again what the most difficult things are, what things could come up. I would just have an honest conversation with them and say, what is my realistic date for opening with like a cushion in mind? Like what could come up? Because they're going to be the ones that are going to be able to tell you best, because they do this kind of stuff all the time. So I never asked, what weather events could happen. If we have, if it rains, what happens if it, do you paint in the rain? Like there's all sorts of like random things. Like for you in Florida, if it's raining, like do they put signs up? Can the electrician work? Like there's all sorts of, most of them are going to be weather related. They were for us, but also like our furniture sent us like the wrong stuff. We had to send it back. Somebody else in the group shared the other day that one of their playhouses was wrong and it didn't fit with their ceilings. And she had to send it back. So little things like that, unfortunately, are just going to come up. So I guess, again, I would have just, if I could give any advice, I wish I would have been more cognizant of the timeline and making sure that it stayed on track, because I was working full time and I had a son, so I was like burning both ends of the stick, and I just didn't do as good of a job as staying on top of the timeline as I should have. And I think they finished other projects before mine because I wasn't staying on top of them. I think that if I was more pushy and a little bit more assertive, I would have gotten that floor poured and we would have opened in November. but I didn't. So I guess that's my best advice. And yeah, another thing I guess I wish I would have done is I wouldn't say cut corners, but we had to cut some costs right as we were getting close to opening. Like, I guess some examples that I'm thinking of, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like some of our cabinets, we cheaped out a little bit on. Some of our toy equipment, I didn't do commercial grade, and I thought I was saving money. I thought I was being smart, but we just ended up replacing them within like a week.
Yeah.
Just investing in commercial grade stuff anyways. So yeah, your budget's probably already pretty finalized, but I would definitely make sure and caution you to make sure that everything you're buying is up to, commercial standards, and making sure that, repairs are getting made right away. Like our tables now, I love them, but they need constant like rescrewing. They're constantly getting wobbly. But if we don't stay on top of it, and if we don't spend 10 minutes screwing them back in like every other day, they are a lot more prone to breaking. Yeah. So I would just make sure that anything that you buy, read the reviews. Thank God I read the reviews on them, because I saw somebody saying like you have to keep rescrewing it or the legs are going to snap off, like if you let it go for long enough. So those little details, you'll figure them out. But I wish I just would have been a little bit more attentive to and made sure that I was really investing in commercial grade equipment and furniture. Like our first set of tables, the ones that were incorrect, even though they were way more expensive, they were from China, which, nothing against products made in China, but this particular company, it was very shoddy craftsmanship. There was no reviews on their website. I should have known better. They were an absolute disaster. They were the wrong color. They stained. These were wooden, and all of the screws like stripped immediately. Replace them within a year. And I guess I just would have vetted my vendors a little bit better.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. And the fact that I couldn't get them on the phone to ask questions or anything like that, should have been, alarm bells. They had like a chat function on their website, but I couldn't get anyone on the phone. And like if you're purchasing an order of like a couple $1,000s or more, you should definitely be able to get someone on the phone. They should have some sort of, presence. And that's why in the course, I always recommend, if you're going to purchase products from another country, other than your own. So there's people in Canada, there's people in Mexico, there's people in Australia, there's people in the UK. I'm not only, all about US products, but having at least some sort of local presence, like a third party reseller or something like that, to offer customer support and help with installation if you need it. Not necessarily everything, but those big products that are going to be really cornerstones for your business, like play equipment, play structures, anything like that. If you're going to be spending, like I said, several $1,000s, I really like to find someone that has my country-based support team that can help. Because if you have to send something back, or if you need, an answer, then you're going to be probably, unfortunately, my experience has been a lot of times once you buy, you are like their least priority, unfortunately. But those, sales teams that are in your own, native country, for us, it's the US, I think are going to be the most helpful. So I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention to that, because I wasn't able to get any refund or anything like that for my furniture. It was a total disaster.
Yeah.
But again, there were red flags. I just ignored them because I had as you know, when you're getting ready to open, there are a million decisions you have to make every single day. And sometimes you are just like, I can't make one more decision. And you just kind of, you think you're making the best decision, but you really just can't sit down and think it through any more than you are. Yeah. But again, I wish I would have known, the implications of not doing that. So, and that's one of the reasons I created the program, is because I was hoping to take some of that decision fatigue out by saying, this is what works, this is what doesn't, so that so that when those decisions come up, you have the time and energy to actually handle them and think them through, because I didn't. Yeah. I was learning this entire thing from scratch, and it was very overwhelming. I didn't have a support group to go to. I didn't have anyone to ask. I did hire a consultant, but I was paying $200 an hour. So I didn't just call her up if I had a question about my chairs, because it would have been $50, so. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I understand how all of those decisions can feel very overwhelming, and it's so easy to just make an incorrect decision just because you're exhausted.
Yeah, I know right now it's kind of just like, I want to be living in like the marketing and the designing of our space. Like I want to be living in that area. And instead it's like emails with the architect every day, emails with the contractor every day. Where do you want outlets placed? And I'm like, just do more of them so I have choices.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, it does get overwhelming, because you kind of feel like, okay, I've got this set up, it's going to work over here while I go work on this other thing over here. And instead, I feel like I'm still very much in like the leasing phase and the designing phase, and I want to be more in the marketing phase, but it's just, it's in two.
I know, but it's just, it's a necessary evil for sure, but you will get through it.
Yeah.
For sure. But man, I think I blacked a lot of it out, because it was so overwhelming. And I remember those days, and like I said, I was working full time. So I was, on my lunch break, I was going through like 10,000 emails and questions. And I had to a lot of times, go to my husband and be like, I just can't make another decision. Please just answer this. Like I can't, it's like, because a lot of them are, I don't want to say insignificant decisions, but like the light switches is like a perfect example, and like outlets. Like,
I went with the electricians for the second time today for an hour. We went in our space pointing out outlets and light switches, and I was just like, oh gosh, okay, well, what if I change my mind? And it's like, but oh well, because I'm gonna have paid you like $3,000 to wire my building, so oh well, I'm gonna like the light switches wherever they are. So.
Right. And yeah, I always this is dangerous to do all the time, but a lot of times I would just be like, what do you recommend? Like, I don't know. Just, what do you recommend? Like, obviously you want to be careful to make sure nobody's recommending something that's too expensive or too much than you need, but also just like, tell me, tell me what I should do. Like, if it were your business, what would you do?
Right.
Because a lot of times they brought up red flags to me that I didn't really realize, and then they tried to caution me against something, but I was like, no, I think I know best. I can't think of a specific example, but so our carpet in the vestibule, we had to get changed because and again, this probably won't directly affect you, but just as an example, the original carpet that we put in there was like this very pretty bright carpet, and the person who installed it was like, you should not do this. And I'm like, because the salt and the snow, the wet, the rain, they were like, even if you put a rug here, people are going to walk all over. It's going to get destroyed in less than one winter season. And I was like, you know what? I don't believe you. I think people are going to stay on the rug. Like, it will be fine.
Right.
Sure enough, it was absolutely destroyed after like a year. And we had to get this like ugly all weather carpet, and like, no, it's not like ideal. It's not like my vision, but nobody's going to walk in and like, yes, I notice the floor everywhere I go for sure, but not in the vestibule. You know what I mean? I notice the floor in the play area. I notice if it's safe. I notice if it's dirty. I notice if it's comfortable to walk on. I notice if it, things like that. I'm not looking at a business's vestibule and being like, oh, I am not going to come back here. I would look at it if it was dirty and ripped up and gross. I would be like, oh, maybe this isn't like the best kept business.
Right.
So that's why we had to replace the other stuff. But I wouldn't notice, like, as long as the carpet was clean, safe, and like not molding or like gross or anything, I wouldn't notice it. So things like that, people offered me their expert opinion and I didn't take it, and I usually ended up regretting it. So if they have any advice or if they have any guidance, like in regards to those like random things that, I would definitely take it, as long as it doesn't seem like they're trying to, swindle money out of you or anything.
Yeah, I definitely have, like, on the topic of flooring, like, feel like I've had to go through the 5 stages of grief, like giving up my ideal floorings because of budget reasons and also practicality reasons and stuff. So I feel like we are listening to people, you know, and that's what I tell people is I'm like, you are the expert. So I'm coming to you because I don't know anything about light switches. I don't know anything about this stuff. So if, you know, you guys think that the best option is to do this, then tell me, you know. So we definitely try to keep things open. I almost feel like I'm bothering people with that sometimes, though, because sometimes people are just like, well, what do you want? And I'm like, well, how much does it cost? And they're like, well, you need to tell me what you want first. I'm like, well, I want this, but can I afford this is the other question, you know. So balancing all of those things has probably been the most stressful phase of, like, part of this phase is balancing kind of the design aspects and the practicality aspects and how much things actually cost and all of that together.
Yeah. And I mean, your flooring is a tough decision because that's, you know, it's not permanent, but it basically is permanent.
It is. And it's like, it's part of your furniture. When you're dealing with kids, your flooring is basically furniture because they're going to sit on it. They're going to walk on it. Your parents are going to sit on it. Like, I struggled a lot, but like the flooring we wanted would have cost us like $30,000 to do. I'm like, there's no way on earth I have $30,000 just for floors, you know?
Right. And yeah, that we had to come to terms with a lot of things like that too, due to budget. But, you know, if there was something that I really, really wanted, and, you know, as long as it wasn't too far out of the budget, if it was a permanent decision, I kind of splurged on it. And then what I would do is I would find something else to cut costs on that maybe wasn't permanent. And then when we had a good month, I would go back and reinvest in whatever I wanted. Like, I really wanted these, like trampoline things when we first opened, but I was like, oh, I really don't need to be spending like an extra $700 on these.
Right.
So instead of buying like a cheap version, I was just like, you know, this isn't permanent, so I can forego it for now and then get it later. But obviously not every decision can be like that. But, you know, so flooring is a bad example for that type of decision. But just always know that you can always make improvements. Like if you have to, you know, if you're not able to decorate just as perfectly as you want it, you can always add. You know, one of the things people love most about our space, I think, is that we're always upgrading and we're always getting new toys. You know, like I think last year, maybe like a full year ago, we got like a really nice dessert backdrop that people decorate and put pictures on. And, you know, we didn't have anything like that at first, not only because it wasn't in the budget, but also because we didn't really know we wanted it. But just people seeing that we're constantly making improvements and constantly making adjustments not only keeps us top of mind for them, but it also shows them that we care, we listen to feedback, and you know, we are making improvements. So just, I know that was a little off topic, but
no, that makes sense.
Always, you know, on opening day, that's not how your business is going to be for the rest of ever. If that makes sense. So if something has to wait, then it'll just, you know, because people are going to come to your business when you open no matter what. The hard part is going to come, you know, 6 months down the road when everyone's already been to your facility, checked it out. And the hardest part is going to be getting them back. So adding any new shiny things around time is actually probably, it might even be smarter to hold some stuff back for that reinvigoration period. But
makes sense. I was going to ask you about promotions and advertising. So I've watched all the modules on it, and I just want to make sure I understand kind of the order you recommend with this.
Okay.
So right now we're just trying to like gain awareness and a following and get people excited about that we're opening. So is this a phase where you would say like maybe doing boost would be better, boosting posts versus like doing full ads and wait till we're closer to opening to do the ads? Or like, I guess I'm kind of looking for a timeline on that of when to transition more to ads.
Okay. So I don't know where, so I don't typically boost posts. I do go into Ads Manager and I create an engagement ad, which is very similar to a boosted post.
Okay.
But I actually go into Ads Manager, and the tutorial on how to do that is in the tutorial modules. But honestly, so building a social media following is really important. Obviously, it's, you know, being active, posting content, blogging, all of that is really important. If I had to start from scratch today, I actually feel like the first thing I would do, and before I did any ads budget, is I would try to contact as many other local businesses as I could and ask them to share our page. Obviously give them some sort of benefit from it, saying, we'll put your logo on our partners page of our website or something like that, or we'll give you a shout out on our social media. I would try to get as much organic traffic as you can. And I would actually honestly focus on my email list. This sounds crazy. I didn't even have an email service provider for like my first year of business. So I mean, this was in 2015. So email marketing was very important, but it wasn't there wasn't as many places where you could readily learn it. And it's so ironic because I worked in email marketing for a Fortune 500 company, and I still didn't see the value for whatever reason in having my own email list. It was one of those things that always just pushed off to the side.
Yeah.
What I would actually focus on, and what I would put your efforts in, is building your email list. So give something away for free, whether it be a piece of information. So in the course I mentioned like a birthday party guide, or some sort of PDF tip or something like that, or a free coffee coupon for when you open, something like that. I would focus on getting people's email address.
Yeah.
And then, so what I'm trying to get at here is the more live videos, I would do a lot of live videos. I would blog, I would share your story, because all of these things, all of these organic marketing tactics, live videos, blogging, having other people share your page, that's generating a warm audience. So by warm audience, I mean people that have been to your website, people that have signed up for your email list, people that have engaged with the post. Even if they have never liked your page, they're engaging with your posts. They're watching my videos. When you go to run an ad, I don't recommend page likes ad, but ads, but say you're running an ad to promote your grand opening.
Right.
You're going to be spending your money a lot more wisely if you're tapping into that warm audience first.
Right.
Yes, you're going to want to eventually turn to a cold audience, but what I found to be most effective is starting with a warm audience, getting a lot of engagement on the post, getting them to share it. Like say it's an event post, and you go to Ads Manager and you promote it with the engagement objective, and you want a lot of people to say that they're going to your event. I always target a warm audience first, get as many responses as possible, because that sends signals to Facebook that it's an engaging event, people are interested in it, so that when you do promote it to a cold audience, so people who have never watched your videos, never been to your website, never liked your page, they're going to be a lot more likely to interact with it, and your costs are going to be a lot lower. So anything that's improving your warm audience and growing that, I would do absolutely first. Before you're spending any money whatsoever.
Okay, so I guess like my concern was offering people, because like through like watching your stuff and reading some other stuff on your guys' website and stuff, I've kind of developed like an outline of a marketing funnel strategy for us. But I guess I didn't know when I could offer stuff to people. Like if we're potentially like 3 months from opening, do you think that's too soon to offer people like a free snack or coffee or something like that when they come in? Do you think that's too soon, or that's kind of the right time to start doing that?
I think 3 months is a perfect time. I think any longer than 3 months, probably too long, but I think right around that 3 month spot is the perfect time. I don't know if you recall this, but in the course, I do recommend not having it be only valid during like your opening month, because then everyone can flood your business.
Yeah.
Recommend it being valid for at least like 6 months to a year, so that, because again, it's really hard to make a good first impression, and it's really important. And if people flood your business on opening day because they have a coupon that they have to use, that's going to expire. Gonna fluster you. It's gonna people are gonna be like, wow, I'm never coming here again, it's a zoo. So we gave something away. I think it was a free coffee, and it was only valid for like a couple weeks by the time we opened, and it was just very overwhelming for us. So I wish I would have made that valid a little bit longer, but again, because we were delayed, I didn't know that it was only going to be good for a month. I thought it was going to be good for a couple months.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So just think about that when you're giving something away. And I would definitely not give away play passes or anything like that.
Right.
It's going to be one of your highest margin, products. Obviously, I would give away something that's still going to make them pay admission.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, just like giving away, because our snacks already like are gonna have like 50% margin. Like they're not that much to begin with,
Right. Yeah.
So giving away snacks isn't too bad for us.
Yeah, but again, just to reiterate, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, anything like that, any way that you can start interacting with people, because they're going to share it. As a family business, a business that serves families, we're very lucky in that parents are very active on social media. They love sharing. They love, being the first to know. So they are very likely to share it. So, me, live video right now is the biggest opportunity. And then in that live video, like in the actual text, I'll have a call to action. Like say I'm doing, this is 3 months out, is actually a really good time to do some sort of contest via your email. So you can say, okay, in 1 month, I'm going to be giving away 10 passes. Sign up, and I'm going to draw a winner. So if you do a live video, yes, explaining your business, yes, introducing yourself, and you do a contest that says, okay, you don't have to say sign up for our newsletter. You can say, we're doing a contest. It's going to be up in a month. We're going to give away a 10-pack of passes. This is how you sign up. MailChimp lets you do this for free. You can actually create like a mini landing page, have people sign up, and that way you're building your email list with ideal customers, because, a lot of times I caution against contests because it can draw, like, I don't recommend doing like gift card or cash contests, because it can, you can get a lot of emails that are from people who aren't going to be interested in this. But giving away like play passes or something like that, that's a way to build a really strong email list, a really strong social media following, a really strong audience of people that are going to be interested in your business. So I would definitely start brainstorming a contest, and a way to kind of amplify your results is, again, see if other local businesses will participate, because, anyone that's seen family businesses that serves family, like indoor playgrounds, open, they know that there is a ton of buzz when they first open, and any business that's smart is going to want to, kind of tap into that exposure. So say like our second location is in a plaza. So if she got like the pizza place next door to donate a free pizza, and then you're making it like a date, like, oh, stop for coffee with us, and then head next door and get a pizza, and then, oh, head next door and 10% off your order. Like, they don't have to. So kind of bundling things together makes it even more appealing. And then those businesses are also likely going to share the content. So this is actually a really good time for some sort of contest.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, most of my connections with other local businesses are like in the like newborn phase. Like I have a lot of friends who are doulas and lactation consultants. I have friends, my midwife, like those people are all to share our stuff, which is really nice because they have built up like a pretty good following.
Right.
So they're all like businesses and stuff that I think would definitely be willing to share our stuff for us too.
Cool.
So, I guess I just feel, I don't know, I feel sometimes like I keep thinking that there's like this stage that's going to happen where I'm like, okay, this is the right time to ask people. And then things just keeping that stage from happening. Like for me, it was like, oh, when we sign the lease, it'll be that. But then I was like, okay, now it's looking like it's going to be 5 weeks until we have architect plans and permits. And then it's going to be 6 weeks until we're done building. And then it's kind of like, so maybe I should just wait until after permits. And then I don't know, I guess maybe a piece of it is just a little bit of imposter syndrome where you're like, well, is it the right time? Well, should I ask? Well, what if they say no? I guess I have a little bit of that going too.
Yeah. I mean, because you're locked in on a lease, like I get annoyed when businesses who are like, in a year out from opening and they ask me for something. I'm like, well, you haven't even done the work for your own business yet. Like you haven't committed. Why should I commit to helping you?
Right.
Like if they don't even have a website or a mailing list or anything like that, but you have a lease, you have a location, you are locked in. I think that it's definitely the right time. As long as you show that, you're actually opening and you have a projected opening month, I think you're all set. I would say before signing a lease, I would caution you because they're going to want to know where you're going to be located, what the address is, because they're going to have to, they probably get propositioned a lot. I know I get propositioned all the time from businesses wanting to partner, and honestly, I just can't say yes to all of them.
Right.
Because it would water down our message. It would just, so I only say yes to ones that are the perfect fit. So any information that you can provide to them to help them determine if you are a good fit for them is going to be helpful. So where you're located, who your customers are going to be, what type of programs you're going to offer, because that's going to help them decide.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any questions for me? Any other questions?
I think that's everything. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This was really fun. I hope you got I hope I answered all your questions and you got some good.
Yeah. Definitely gave me things to think about. I think that's the best, is when you don't just have answers, but you have more things to build off of.
Homework.
Things to think about. Yeah. So.
Yes. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. It was good chatting. I will see you in the members group.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.